So from one seed, then we start to feed our awareness on it, feed our attention to it, the water, and then it starts to grow, and then it blooms into this flower of thinking, and then it produces a fruit, and the fruit has 1,000 more seeds in it. So that's how the process works. This is how all of these unskillful states, or we can call them distractions, arise. In the teachings of the Buddha, we call those hindrances, nivaranas. I've heard some giggles today. That was good. So I'm starting to notice a few more smiles, natural smiles, which is good. Which is good. It's starting to hold, starting to stick. And just a general question, has anyone experienced any distractions today? Oh, is it? Very good. And so tonight we'll be diving a little deeper into understanding that process, how these distractions arise, and what is feeding them. And maybe the Buddha can help us with his wisdom to understand the mind and to understand how to let go even deeper. And I really like to start this topic, and we're lucky, a very lucky group, because usually we just watch it on my tablet and like everybody gets together like in a clump, so this is really nice. And I like to open this topic usually with a special video that I will actually let itself speak for itself, and then we'll have a little talk together after that. We don't often realize how blissful silence, especially mental silence, is. And like I was explaining to someone before the retreat, I can't remember, before we break into speech, the speech has been going on in our minds quite earlier. And so actually physical speech comes much later in the mental process. And so there's no real efficient way we can calm the mind by constantly talking, because it will basically feed the inner chatter, which is what everybody's been struggling with. And so if we were to actually speak during retreat, then that chatter in the mind, I love how one of my teachers, Ajahn Jeff, calls it the inner mob, always talking and shouting, like she was explaining, oh, you muscles got to pull, and you guys got to relax. And this, in some level, is always happening inside our minds. I think it's quite a profound look at what happens in the mind and how the brain works, and I really like. Did somebody here already see this video before? Okay, good. Well, great. And so do you think nowadays we have a slight imbalance on one of the hemispheres of our brain? With all the technologies and communication, media, inputs that is coming in through our senses. And I really like this video because it's such a good reminder. And that's also how I think it was at the time of the Buddha. There was not as much stimulation, and I think that really helped them. And so I think it's always really good to remember that. I think we have particular challenges and also silent retreats, and nowadays these containers of silence and these retreats, these 10-day retreats, which kind of support all the conditions that are needed for us to actually go deeper in the practice. I was actually talking to a friend monk about, we were trying to calculate how many human beings there was on the planet 2,600 years ago, and it's about 50 to 100 million. Like the whole thing. Many countries have way more people than this nowadays, and so it's quite impressive. A very different world we live in nowadays, and I'm sure it will just only get more, and that we're still lucky to have all that we have, nature the way that we have it, and space the way that we have it also. You just have to go maybe to India to to know what space's true value. Or to China, yes. Yeah. And so I think these are quite interesting contemplations. And if we go a little closer to the Buddha's wisdom regarding this, regarding the activities in the mind, there's a quote I really like, which is kind of there's a lot of wisdom and insight that can be understood from it. And he says, "The propagation of concepts fabricated by the mind is the cause for people's bewilderment. These concepts should not be delighted in, nor praised or indulged. Here ends the inclination to discontent, the inclination to irritation, the inclination to views, to doubt, to pride, the inclination to longing for becoming, the inclination to carelessness. This is the end of being given to rods and swords, fights and arguments, rivalry and fault-finding, slander and lies. This is where unrighteous, unwholesome states of mind stop entirely." All of these mental distractions and all of these unskillful states of mind or restlessness, distractions, they always come with a story, an identity, an identification. And that story is just something that we fabricate in our minds. And when we don't have that story, when we don't feed that story, actually everything is fine. To get angry, there needs to be a story. Because if there's no story, there's no anger. There's no ground for anger. It cannot exist. And it's the same thing for discontent, irritation, views, doubt, pride. There has to be some background. And the Buddha in the teaching that I will be basing myself on tonight, he says, cultivate meditation. That's the first thing that he says. He says, cultivate mental collectedness, calmness of mind. Because when you meditate, when you're calm in mind, then you'll start to see things for what they truly are, how they truly are. Because when our mind is spinning very quickly, it's hard to actually understand how the process arises and how the mind works. But when we slow down, we start to see things arising and passing away. And here he says, what are the things one understands as they truly are? Such as body or the senses, such its arising, such its passing away. Such are felt experiences, such their arising, such their passing away. Such are perceptions or concepts, such their arising, such their passing away. Such are mental activities, such their arising, such their passing away. Such is consciousness, such their arising, such their passing away. Does anyone know what the Buddha is referring to here when he's saying like arising and passing away, arising and passing away?
Transient nature.
The transient nature, very good, very good. That's using my own vocabulary too, so that's usually this would also be called impermanence. If for you who are familiar with the three characteristics that the Buddha taught, that troublesomeness, dukkha, impermanence, anicca, and the last one is anatta, which is the impersonal nature of things, of the mind. Sometimes it's called not self, but the word, that can be tricky and needs a lot of explanation, but to see how impersonal certain things are, certain processes are, is very liberating, actually. And these three are together, they come together, these three characteristics. And when I say such as body, such are felt experiences or sensations, such are perceptions and mental activities and consciousness, is anybody familiar with what these five things are? The five? Sense organs. That would be part of body, and that's true. And we'll be talking about that a bit more in what we call dependent origination. And that is a quite profound teaching. We'll be talking about that later on the retreat. That would be the first one. But these five things are called, starts with an A.
Aggregates.
The five aggregates, yes. The Panchupadanakandas. Which means these are the five things that we consider to be us. I like to call them the fabrics of the ego. Because when we break down our experience, we have body, which is physical. We have sensations. We have perceptions. Sometimes also can be translated as concepts, which are fabricated. Then we have mental activities or intentions, volitions, and then we have consciousness. And this is like the loaf of bread that we call me, my experience. And that's what the Buddha was teaching. This is what you call me. And to understand this process a little closer is really helpful to actually see how it's so impersonal, this whole process, and how to let it go. And that really helps us kind of let go of whatever is arising in the mind. The Buddha would call rupa, or body, or form. He would compare it to, it's like a big mass of foam kind of floating down the Ganges, the river. And he would say of sensations that they're like water bubbles. You know, when it's raining hard and you see these water bubbles arising, passing away. Sensations are so insubstantial in a way. It's just arising, passing away. And if you try to put your attention on them, which I'm sure some of you have tried in the past, it's difficult because they come and they go. And so it's always a flow. It's always kind of arising and passing away, but there's no real permanence in there. And then he said, perceptions or concepts are like a mirage. On like a hot day on the horizon, you can see you can see it's like a lake, but it's not. It's not there. There's no substance to it. It's like an illusion, a mirage. And he compared mental activities or volitions in the mind like a banana tree trunk. And in the Sutta he says it's like someone were to go into the forest looking for heartwood. They needed heartwood for furniture or to make something that would be like a bowl or anything. And they would try to cut down a banana tree trunk, peel its layers and just hoping to find heartwood. And, well, at some point they would just realize that, there's no heartwood. Too bad for my bowl. I really like this imagery actually because it really helps us understand that it's not personal. When these distractions arise, these volitions, these mental movements, they're just peels over peels over peels. There's no solid core to them. What we think is me is actually a build-up of all these layers. We've talked about layers on the interviews with some people. Well, this is what that is. And to gradually, slowly understand that is really helpful to let that go. It's okay. It's not personal. And so, how is that arising? What is that process? And what is feeding that? And so the Buddha says, one longs, wishes for, and remains attached to any of these things. You've probably heard things that distracted you today. Usually that's the biggest one. Or seen things that you started to pay attention to, hold on to. By doing so, liking arises. And so we feed our awareness into that. This is like the water. With such liking regarding any aspect of the five senses that arise, there is an attachment. And now we're starting to, oh, what about this? And this attachment produces a momentum, and this is what we call thinking. And that thinking arises because, at first there's a slight movement. I like the kind of idea of like a magnetic pole. There's that attraction to something. It can be pleasant or it can be unpleasant, but just to realize that wanting and aversion they both have wanting in it. They both have discontent in it. Wanting, it's obvious, like I want bananas. But disliking is a little twist. It's wanting something not to be. So that's what dislike is. It has tanha, it has discontent in it still. It's the same thing, but it's just wanting something not there. That's all it is, really. There's the same tension, there's the same pull. And so both movements, like this or like this, they have that tension, that pull. And so either or, they're like the same thing. And then once we attach to that, we start to pay attention, we start to like that, we start to give it momentum. It's like we're feeding the seeds, and then it's starting to grow. And then it flowers into thinking. And then the flower, there's many petals on it, so we're all familiar with that, how that works. And then it fruits into what I like to see as like the fruit is the distraction itself. And so that thinking culminates into the birth of a distraction. So this is talking about dependent origination, but I've kind of tweaked it a little bit so that it's more applicable to our direct experience. What's usually in a fruit? Yeah, very good. I'm glad that everybody got it too. Very good. So this is the process. So from one seed, then we start to feed our awareness on it, feed our attention to it, the water, and then it starts to grow, and then it blooms into this flower of thinking, and then it produces a fruit, and the fruit has 1,000 more seeds in it. So that's how the process works. This is how all of these unskillful states, or we can call them distractions, arise. And in the teachings of the Buddha, we call those sometimes hindrances, nivaranas. Is somebody familiar with the hindrances? How many hindrances are there? 5, yes. And what are they?
One's anxiety.
Anxiety? Yeah. Restlessness. Doubt? Yes. Aversion? Yes. Too much energy. Too much energy would be considered usually restlessness. Sleepy, yes. Dullness, laziness, sometimes called sloth and torpor. Yes. And I was talking about the push and pull. Those are the 2 first ones. Wanting, craving, yes. Yeah. And in Pali it's called kama chanda, which is wanting anything in the senses, the 5 senses mainly. And then aversion we mentioned. So these are the first 2. And then we have wanting, dislike, sloth and torpor. We have anxiety or restlessness, and then we have doubt. Yes, you mentioned it.
So that's what we are.
So that's what we are. Yeah, here you guys look. Great. Yes, Sergio.
Bhante, we discussed something about that I am striving or working for the greater good.
Yes.
Okay, so I get like the whole concept that like overthinking about situations or about
Yes.
personal drama or
Yes.
day-to-day
Yes.
conflicts or things that need to be solved. It's nonsense. That's what I'm
Yes.
working towards too. Like it's just noise.
Yes.
But what about conflicts that affect us all?
Mm-hmm.
What about water quality? What about overpopulation?
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, I know this is just noise,
Mm-hmm.
and I cannot have a profound effect as a single individual with the resources that I have now. But yeah, like how do I match those ideas? Like I know it's all overthinking. I cannot do anything about
Yes. Yes.
water. I cannot do anything about global warming. I cannot do anything about conflict.
Uh-huh.
War.
Yeah.
Just stop there.
Yes. Well, the thing is, we need to understand. It's like this analogy of this philosophy teacher who was came before his students and had this container, and he started putting rocks in it. And he said, "Do you think the container is full?" And the students were like, "Yeah, it's full of rocks now." And then he had smaller rocks, and he started putting them in there. And then it's like shaking it, and then now what do you think? Is it full? He's like, "Yeah." It's like, okay, now he's taking smaller rocks even and shaking it in. Is it full? Yes. Now he's putting the sand in, and then he's like, "Is it full now?" It's like, "Yes, it's full." And it's like taking a water jug and then putting the water in it. And the moral of the story is that if you start by putting the sand and the water, there's not going to be any room left for the big rocks. And the thing is, we have to understand what the big rocks are. what are the most important, valuable things that we have and can have influence on in our lives. And I think for me in my own journey, because I was very much on that path, very sensitive ecologically, and this is what I wanted to do. I bought 25 acres of forested property, and I was going to turn that into a homestead and do permaculture on it, and even meditation and all that. And then I was working at this huge organic greenhouse, and on my way back from work, I stopped at the grocery store, and there was this sign on the grocery store, and it was selling like, "Crave more." Crave more. Crave more, like big capital letters, the whole thing. And I was like, this is it. I'm out. I was like eating my cookies or something, I don't know. I'm like, there's no way. That's just like a joke, but that's it was part of my process. But yeah, it was a sign in all the ways of the term. But to me, discovering what the Buddha is like offering in terms of wholesome mental development became the big rocks. Because I understood that the mind is the forerunner of everything. We read every morning, mind precedes all things. And if we take care of the mind, then speech, actions, and livelihood are all coming out from the mind. And I'll be speaking about the Eightfold Path later, but that's kind of part of that talk. And so when we take care of the mind, so the Buddha said, like I explained yesterday, the four noble truths, that's the awakening of the Buddha. And that means to understand what is troublesome, that there is this troublesomeness, that there is that trouble, and that the cause of it is craving, wanting, never being satisfied, always being discontent. That is the cause, the root cause for all of human suffering. Yes?
Can you want something and not have an attachment to its outcome?
Yes.
And therefore not be in that delusion, right?
Yes.
Like this place, Tierramor, came to existence because of a want.
Yes.
He birthed that from a want,
Yes.
or the team birthed it, right? Like whatever it is. Can you talk a little bit more about how that looks and wanting
Yes.
from a place of love and not from, craving?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that we have a particular word in Pali, it's called chanda, which is wholesome desire. Yes. So you have tanha, which is the root of all problems, which is one friend says, he likes to say tanha. All the problems. It's like that discontent, that never being able to feel satisfied, just wanting more, or not being okay with things, are always pushing away. This is the cause of all of our problems, and actually this is the cause of all 5 hindrances to arise also, which is the topic tonight as well. But there is chanda, which is wholesome, and that is like wanting to help, wanting to develop the mind, wanting to do good deeds, wanting to purify our minds and hearts, wanting to develop loving kindness, compassion, forgiveness. And we need chanda. And that is actually what I found was a very big problem in all of my previous practices that I found, especially in Buddhism. It's all emphasizing suffering and its cause, craving, but it's not, and it's saying basically you have to abandon all desires. And that's a problem. Because to attain awakening or understand what that means and cultivate the path, cultivate wholesome states, you need the will, you need the desire to do it. Otherwise you just become, sorry? A zombie, yes, a zombie. Just spineless, just there's nothing. Yeah, you're like, everything that you want to do is like, oh, you want. But that's unwholesome, you shouldn't want. You should just like, it's actually quite nihilistic. And that's very far from the Buddha's teaching. Very far. And so, okay, we were with Sergio's question, and did that answer what you were asking? Okay. Yes, shift the focus on the big rocks. Yes, and so the big rocks is when we understand that wanting, not being like discontent in finding happiness always in the senses instead of cultivating our minds and finding that happiness in the loving kindness and that clarity of mind. It's really, today is very beautiful because I'm seeing a lot of people starting to really smile, like genuinely. And the minds are getting much lighter. I've noticed today quite a difference, and usually that's what happens. And you'll notice that actually the higher mind, the mind that is developed and cultivated, produces naturally joy and bliss and happiness. And that actually when the work is being done, the mental cultivation is being maintained, the mind is just happy. When the mind is happy, it doesn't want other things because it's happy. Because wanting other things is looking for happiness in other things. But when you have happiness, you're not looking out for it, you have it. So once that's established, and see that's kind of where it ties into like the big world solution, is that we can do all of these physical things to solve the world's problem. But in reality, as long as there's going to be craving behind everything, it's never going to end. Because we're always going to be wanting something else. And that's, for me, the perspective that I think is necessary now is to combine the two. Is like we need places that promote this kind of new era of, syntropic agroforestry and permaculture, and put that out there, and also let go of craving. That will really, I think that's the full solution. But that's just me. Because if we don't let go of our own dissatisfaction, this is just never going to end. We're always going to be wanting more, and it's just, we're never going to be happy. We're never going to be okay inside. And so the big rocks is to take care, is that what you've done here is you've come on retreat, and you've committed to a 10-day silent retreat to actually do that. And I think that's one of the wisest and best things to do for yourself and for the world also.
Can the practice spill over to the point that it's attachment or craving or happiness alone, and then aversion to anything that is not happiness?
Yeah. So the thing is that the definition of happiness itself is different when it comes from mental development than when it comes from an outside cause. And when it comes from mental development, it comes from letting go, developing very beautiful states of the heart, which are happiness in themselves. And that's accessible all the time. And it helps you let go also. Like when something unpleasant will come, you'll notice that when the mind is developed, it's not as shaken by it. So it also changes the unpleasant experiences. So mental development is not only bringing more liberation and happiness of mind, which is just basically someone skilled in this can just first will carry that in their whole life as a kind of a general state, but can just close their eyes and just let go, and there it is. It's like it's there. It's a fountain of bliss and love and joy and release, and the mind is just very clear and very bright, and there's nothing else that is better than that. And then whenever unpleasant experiences come, the mind is developed to the point where it might get shaken a little bit, but that's also part of the practice. And the unpleasant will come, and it will also teach us what is left in the mind to work on, what is left to let go. And that's kind of just the process at that point. If there is just clinging on to happiness and pushing away aversion, actually that's hurtful in itself, because it's not flowing with what is. So just there, I would say it would be showing someone's attachment to actually let go of. And that will, in fact, lead to more happiness. Because even clinging to an experience that is not there, it's just asking for problems. Really, that's just the way it is. Sometimes, because situations in life, we might be put in a more difficult situation. And the Buddha says there's two darts. One is the physical pain. One is the actual situation that is unpleasant. And that we don't really have a choice on that one. But the second dart, which is usually 90% of the pain, is our perception of it. Our ideas, judgments, storyline, opinions, and the whole chatter that comes with it. One of the things that people notice often is when they start having meditation as a regular practice, that that second dart is much, much, much less. And it makes a huge difference on all unpleasant experiences that can come. Because there's just not that feeding into it. And so it's just, yeah, it's unpleasant. But even if I was to not want it, I would be fighting with the truth. Like the truth is that this is there. And maybe it's unpleasant, but if you're gonna swear at it and be angry about it, that's the second dart. You're just hurting yourself more for no reason. And the more you practice, your practice will deepen, the more you'll understand that. You'll be, well, it's like sometimes I walk in the morning, I go for alms in Sri Lanka with my bowl, get food in the village in the morning, and maybe I'm not very mindful, and I hit my toe on a root because I live in the jungle, and it's really painful. And I feel the pain, and it's there. But what am I going to do about it? That's just the way it is. And actually, you'll notice that your reaction is more like, oh. And having that reaction is actually just, you'll notice how much the first dart is actually not that painful in the first place. But the mind, it goes like, whoa!
I think that is something that is deeper, like cancer, for example.
Yes. Cancer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How to like let go of the attachment of wanting to be over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, like hitting my toe on the root and like cancer is not, it's a different level of importance for sure. And so we would be talking about a much deeper level of, acceptance and letting go. But yeah, we're all born, we're all gonna die. That's the way it is. And at some point, what we're doing here is also understanding how to manage that and the truth of it. And there's a lot of deeper teachings around that. But it's honestly the same thing. Even if you were to stress out about having cancer, having chemo, stress out about the whole process, it won't actually make it better. It will just only make it worse.
Sounds like my doctor.
Sorry?
Sounds like my doctor.
We are all born with a terminal illness, and it's life. If we don't die of cancer, we will die from old age. And there will be something that come get us. Whatever happens, now is your chance. There's just one way, really. It's quite simple. And it's forward. And there's different ways of looking at death too. Some people, some tradition just see it as just a rite of passage. I've heard a lot of beautiful stories about it too. And in the end, what matters is whatever is happening to us is that there is this one path, which is to see exactly what I've been explaining. Whenever something arises, it triggers us, it shows us what is inside. This is our opportunity to make progress, to change. And so my teacher would always say, your own hindrances, distractions, they're not to be pushed away. All of the unwholesome states, unwholesome or unskillful states, they're actually our teachers. Because they are showing us what's inside. And if we don't see what's inside, then we can't change. We can't cultivate. We can't make progress. So these distractions, whenever they arise, whatever it is, whatever the storyline is, it is for us to take the opportunity to actually see it, see the tension in it, and to let it go, relax. And if it's stronger, maybe do some forgiveness, to let that go. Change it, transmute it.
Do you think it's possible to be too accepting or too surrendered to life?
Too surrendered.
Too accepting, too surrendered, like I stubbed my toe, and sort of like the metal in the knee story, like it's okay,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a bigger problem. How do we reconcile that?
Mm-hmm.
Try to be more accepting and surrender, but knowing when it's time to discipline or to
Yeah.
approach it differently.
Well, I mean, the story of the piece of axe in the knee was, maybe it sounded more peaceful than it really was, but that was, before all of this. So there was quite a bit of second dart involved, because I was worrying about it, and definitely I was like, okay, this is not actually going away. I think the shift in awareness is that it's not about just surrendering to everything. It's about understanding how we create our own problems and trouble and letting go of that cause, which culminates in surrender. But if you were to just be like, yeah, I'm just like everything, it's fine, like I think we've come upon these examples in life, and often it's not necessarily the wisest, because it's just not really seeing things for what they are. It's just kind of basically wanting to create a different kind of reality that is not really the same. And whatever the situation, it's about understanding our own stance towards it and how we create our own hurt, and not to propagate it, not to make it more. And there are situations that, that are going to be painful. For example, you might have to deal with dishonest people, and you can forgive them, and you can still be okay, not be angry with them, but you also don't have to be best friends. I don't want to live with dishonest people. That's just a fact of life, and that's okay. I'm very okay with having that boundary. And if they come, then it's fine, like maybe I don't know, but I'm not gonna seek interaction with people that I don't feel are being honest, or they're not actually trying to change, or that their ground intention is not good. And that for me is, when I see the willingness to change, then that's another story. But when I don't see that, I'm not really interested. And that's fine. My life is good. It's a very good rule. I would definitely encourage everybody here to follow that. So there's also a way that we don't need to invite problems into our lives either. So that's part of wisdom too. Okay, so back to, that was a very interesting branch off. Still on topic, still on the same tree, but we went exploring a few deeper topics here. And maybe if we all come back to the main topic that I wanted to cover, and I think, we're not going to take that much more time, but I just want to offer the last few insights that I just wanted to cover, because I think it's really important to understand. See, this is the life challenges. Lights on, lights out. All right. This is exciting.
What's the second brother?
See, we never know. Never know what's going to happen. Okay. Okay, so let's just wrap it up. And we were talking about the 5 hindrances and how they... Great, thank you. Like this. Like this. And so how the 5 hindrances arise out of just one thing: dissatisfaction, discontent, wanting or pushing, and that creates this whole conundrum. And the 5 hindrances, like I said, they are our own teachers. They're not something to fight against. They're not something to repress and push away. They're actually telling us what we're keeping inside, how our mind has been conditioned over the years. If anger arises, that means that it's conditioned to feel like that. And if it comes up, then the work is the same. Okay, there is anger. It comes with tension. 6R. Recognize it's just anger. It's just a distraction. There's tension. Release it. Relax somatically. Re-smile. Don't take your mind so seriously. It's just a habit, just a conditioning. And whenever these come up, if there's sadness or if there's depression, or did you wake up and said, I haven't felt depressed in a long time, I should try it now? No. Nobody's like that. It's just that it was conditioned. It's a momentum, and it keeps coming until you just continually do that work of letting that go, re-smiling, reconditioning the mind. It's not personal, and we take it so personal. We make it so personal. We think it's us. The storyline, the anger, the depression, the story about behind that. We think, oh, it's always like that. It's always me, but it's not. Before the distraction comes, did you ask it to come? No. Mine just got on the loose. And it just happens. And so it's a very impersonal thing. And that's why we say just smile, laugh. We have something that is called, maybe some people are familiar with this, the negativity bias. Because we've evolved, our brain structure has evolved to see threats and detect threats in our environments. And it soaks in the negativity. And so we have a little bit of a bias, and that's why these things come up. But here what we're doing is we're working the other direction. We're rebooting the mind. Yeah, the negativity bias is an established kind of theory, and it's got many studies backing it up. But I'm bringing forward the positivity bias, and I think we have very strong allies. And I was talking about that today. And I think, for me, one of the topics that I like the most is the parasympathetic nervous system and the vagus nerve, more especially. That is something that mammalians have developed more recently compared to our reptilian counterparts, which actually help us co-regulate. When we feel compassion, when we feel kindness, the vagus nerve is activated. When we feel our bodies, when we relax our bodies, also helps the vagus nerve. Meditation tones the vagus nerve also. The positivity bias, see, I'm telling you, it's coming. And so what we've been doing here, smiling activates the same muscles that also are connected with the vagus nerve, which is responsible for social engagement. It's our ability to connect with people. Yesterday we were talking about connection. What is the difference between attachment? Yes. And so this is our ability to connect with others, to make eye contact. And that's why some people are thinking mid-retreat, oh, but I just want to talk to people. Because we're just activating that part of us. We're healing it. and we're bringing it to its full capacity. And so when we're smiling, when we're developing kindness, compassion, we're fully tapping into that power of the vagus nerve. And the mind will calm down and it will rewire itself. The negativity bias is not actually set in stone, and it's all neuroplasticity. We can all change that around. And today is beautiful because a lot of people are starting to feel that and embody that, and it's day 3 and 4 usually my favorite days because it really starts to change. People really start to understand the practice and feel it. And I'm very happy with everybody's practice right now, I just want to say. It's really beautiful to see. And just keep going. You're all on the right track. And whenever the mind gets distracted, don't take it too seriously. Just laugh. It's just coming up through causes and conditions, doesn't really matter. My teacher would always say the quickest way to let go of an attachment is to laugh. And so on this, I hope you have a very beautiful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Let's share our merits. I think we've been taking enough time now with all the adventures of the night. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share these merits that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty powers, share these merits of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.